Zimbabwean President-elect Emmerson Mnangagwa has promised to tackle the country's economic challenges. Mnangagwa secured a second term with 52% of the vote in hotly contested elections, where 9 candidates were vying for the State House. Zimbabwe has one of the highest inflation rates in the world. Unemployment remains high, with only 30% of Zimbabweans holding formal jobs. The Zim dollar has also weakened to over 80% this year against the US dollar. For an analysis on the results, we're now joined virtually by an associate professor in the Department of Public Management at the Tshwane University of Technology, Professor Ricky Mukonza. A very good morning to you, Prof. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers.
Now, Prof, even though there was no reported violence in the recently concluded elections, what's your take? Were you at all surprised with the outcome?
I was not surprised that much. I think I had an interview with Sakina a day before the election, and I predicted exactly, to a large extent, what came out of these elections. I said under ideal conditions, Nelson Chamisa would win, but things as they are, the winner would be pronounced as somebody that people may not like that much. I did that prediction precisely because the variables have not changed that much from the 2018 elections. What may have changed are the years, but not the critical variables. For example, we still have President Mnangagwa as the ruling party contesting candidate. We have the ZANU-PF still controlling key state institutions that are responsible for running elections, such as the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. We still have, the ZANU-PF party also controlling the police and other key state institutions. So I was not surprised at all.
Now, the SADC and European Union election observer mission discredited the country's elections. I mean, what's your take on the presence of such election observer missions in any election in Africa? I mean, do they carry any weight with regards to they cannot even be listened to when they say that the elections are not free and fair?
I think they are important in as far as they give a somewhat objective view on the proceedings and the outcomes of the election. So we cannot totally discount the importance of the pronouncements of these observer missions. What may then be questioned is the effectiveness of what they would have said going forward. I think that's where the challenge is. To say after they've pronounced the elections as not being free and fair, then what? And I think that's the key question that Zimbabwe is facing at this point in time.
What is the point of having them then if their pronouncement will not be considered?
As I already alluded to, I think they give the world an objective view about what would have transpired in the elections, both in the during and post-election period. And that voice is very important because imagine if it was a case of ZANU-PF saying we have won and MDC, Triple C saying the election result have been rigged. I think the world will be left, in no man's land. The world would not really have an objective view about what would have transpired. So at least, having observer missions gives you that objective view that is important in as far as making opinions about how elections would have gone.
Now, multinational institutions now say free and fair elections will be a precondition for meaningful talks on resolving a debt crisis. Is President Mnangagwa going to face a tough task in convincing these multinational institutions that Zimbabwe is open for investment? Indeed.
President Mnangagwa's government that is going to form beyond these elections, I think is going to face a tough time in as far as in as far as engaging with multilateral institutions. But not only that, also in driving the government's foreign policy positions, because no country would want to engage with a pariah state. We are likely to see the government of Zimbabwe being isolated to a large extent. If you want to see that, as of yesterday, when I checked, we had not had many heads of state congratulating President Mnangagwa on his victory. That is a telltale sign of what is likely to follow as President Mnangagwa tries to engage, other players on the international scene. So I'm simply saying, yes, there will face challenges in trying to negotiate on the debt crisis, but more than that, Zimbabwe is going to face serious challenges in its international engagement because of what has just happened in these elections.
All right, Professor, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your analysis with us.